Welcome to Answers News for June the 18th, 2018.
You say that every time.
Well, that's my job.
Hi, and welcome to Answers News.
Hi. Welcome to Answers News.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
Yes. Well, you could change it. You could say, "G'day, welcome to Answers News," eh?
I
Howdy.
don't have that Australian accent, though.
Yeah,
So.
howdy would be a good one.
Howdy. Yeah,
Howdy.
I can do that one.
Yeah, you should vary it up a bit.
Change it up.
There you go.
Yeah. So
Make it
what
exciting.
I'm going to do here is like we normally do. We spend the first couple of minutes talking about nothing.
Hey, we have a studio
Stop.
audience here with
Yep,
us
a
today.
great studio
Here,
audience.
let them hear you.
And they are excited. They're
They
from
are excited.
everywhere except Kentucky.
Yeah.
I couldn't find anybody in the audience
There was no one
from
Or
Kentucky.
Indiana. Yeah.
So, okay. So people are starting to get on.
And you can follow along on the Answers in Genesis Facebook page or the Ken Ham Facebook page, because we're live on both of
They
those.
do.
And our YouTube
And
channel
the YouTube channel. Yep.
as
for
well.
Answers in Genesis.
So people who are watching, or people who are not watching, we're telling them you can follow. No, how can they know?
They have to
If you're telling them where to go, but
Well, I
I
know,
don't
but
quite
if
get
they're
that.
That way they
already
know
on
the
one
other one.
place.
Can you explain that to me?
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay,
we're
all right.
telling them anyway.
So we always start just talking about a few little items until the people get in line. I see they're starting to get in line, and tell us where you are from. Bodhi, your wife is watching.
She's watching.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
just saw it here. She's watching.
Yeah, good.
Okay,
Hi,
so be
hon.
careful. And so just
That was not to all the other huns. That was to my hun out there.
So did you know that there are a number? You remember Target changed their bathroom policy?
Yes.
And a lot of Christians decided they weren't going to shop at
Yeah.
Target anymore
And
because
that's
of
still
that.
happening. A lot of Christians
Well,
are.
it's interesting. If you go into some of the Targets, not all, but some of them, and I know there's at least one in this area, and beside the Love Mickey, which is like the Disney stuff, for kids, right beside there, they now have gay pride items for sale, including this button, Ask Me About My Pronoun.
Do
And
most kids know what a pronoun? I hope they know what a pronoun is. I'd be happiest with that. but-
actually, that'd be you know what? They actually should wear those buttons, and then when someone asks them about it, they can witness to them and tell them the truth about God's word and the gospel.
Good. Yeah, that'll
Yeah.
work.
But again, there they are targeting kids. I mean, right beside you can see it there, right beside the Love Mickey.
Well, it even says under the rainbow, talk pride.
Yeah,
And-
that's the sign
Or
there.
take
Yeah.
pride, take pride.
And as I said on my Facebook, you know what? They have freedom to do what they want to do. They're a company, they can do that.
Yep.
And we have freedom not to shop there if we don't want to shop
That's
there,
right.
right?
And we actually have some really cool attire that you could wear even. We have shirts that say taking back the rainbow, because the rainbow is a sign of God's promise. They would never flood the world again. We have bumper stickers and
And we just opened Rainbow Gardens at the Ark.
Rainbow
right.
Gardens.
So it's any of you people at the Ark yesterday who were at the Ark? A number
Yeah,
of you
a number of people
who
are.
saw the new Rainbow Gardens behind the Ark. Aren't they beautiful? And we have those big baskets on top of the poles, and as those flowers grow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, and we have rainbow colours there. And we have a number of items at the Ark about the true meaning of the rainbow.
yeah, rainbow
So
umbrellas.
as we say, let's take the rainbow
Right,
back.
let's take it back.
Yeah.
So, okay, remember in the past I've talked about that. Now, this is a true story. Studio audience and everyone watching, I want you to understand this is true. One of our supporters in Florida, every time he watches Answers News, as long as I'm speaking, he said he thinks it's the Australian accent, but his cat watches. That's true. And he
does.
said the cat
That's right.
only watches, so the cat will be hi cat, it'll be watching right now, okay, because I'm speaking. He sent us another photo. He said, this is true, whenever Ken is not there and it's just Georgia and Bodhi, you see that?
Cat has no
The
interest.
cat goes to sleep. And then when I
Are we
appear,
that boring?
then the cat watches. Look at that.
So many things can be said about that.
This is a true story.
We should test this out. The
yeah.
next time you're not here, Georgia, do you want to try an Australian accent? We'll just see what happens.
See-
I don't know if you want to hear mine.
okay, so
G'day,
We
mate.
need to do a
It's
scientific experiment.
so Ted, hope your cat likes Answers News today. Let
Good
us
on
know.
ya.
Send us a photo today. Okay. I'll put a comment in while we're here on my Facebook.
right.
Okay.
Okay. Climate change killed the aliens, and it will probably kill us too, new simulations suggest. So this is in the ongoing series of articles as to why we'll never find aliens.
So wait a minute. Climate change killed aliens.
Yes.
But we don't find aliens.
Well, I know, but that's
Right.
why we don't find aliens.
Oh, because climate change-
They killed themselves
No
off.
wonder we don't find aliens.
Yeah.
It's climate change.
And that's what this, basically the whole idea is they ran these simulations and said, well, the only way a society can survive is if it figures out what it's doing to damage damage their world,
Yep.
stop it, and then they'll be saved.
Have we
And-
actually
and-
found a world that's
Yeah,
able
but
for
let this
these
be a
guys to
warning
survive
to let
anyway?
this be a warning to humans on planet Earth. See, because alien cultures didn't deal with climate change,
Yeah,
now they're gone.
exactly.
Let that be a warning to you.
Yeah.
Because that'll happen to you, and we know that because we don't find aliens.
Or their world.
That's really what the essence of the
Okay,
article
okay.
is.
Okay,
A little bit of
100%
teaching here.
Pure speculation.
Wait a
on this
minute,
whole
a
thing.
little bit of teaching here. I'm going to put up a fact for you. There's my favorite fact. Do you like my fact? Okay, I'm going to ask the studio audience here. Do you like my fact? Okay, it's a nice fact, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. What is missing? What was this originally? What do you think? Okay, I'm going to put some choices for you, and you tell me which choice you choose. Okay, have a look at it. What do you think is most likely missing? What was this originally? Okay, you ready? A, B, C, D, or E? What? E. E. Okay, who said E? Who said E? Who said it's some other option? Okay. The correct answer is nothing's missing. I drew it that way. Now, see, what I just did was what they do in these articles. You know what I did? I got you to think in a particular way that something was missing and you filled it in, but it never was missing. It's just like they do with evolution. Missing links, what do they find? Nothing. What do they label them as? Missing. So aliens,
they keep looking for it.
what do they find? No aliens, so what are they? Missing. What happened to them? Climate change. Let that be a warning to you.
Yeah.
There we are.
Well, they tried to make this kind of scientific. They used the example
Yeah.
of those on Easter Island who supposedly, disappeared because they ruined their environment.
Yeah.
They presume.
Yeah,
we don't
they
know. We don't
presume.
really
We
know.
don't
what
The
really
people on
why.
Easter Island caused climate change on Easter Island, and that's why they're no longer there. Let that be a warning to you. It's just like aliens.
Seriously, that's the basis of this entire article.
And they don't even know what happened to the people on Easter Island, but
know.
it was obviously climate
Did they
change.
celebrate Easter on Easter Island?
I have no idea.
But
But, again, this is just the fact that
Yeah.
this kind of stuff makes the news. And, literally, we could have a whole, probably 4
Right.
episodes on why aliens don't exist.
All the excuses that people keep
Yeah,
coming
all the
up with.
excuses that they're trying to come up with because they can't
Yeah.
find them. It's ridiculous.
So, okay, I don't understand. Somebody's writing a comment here. I'm a little bit perplexed. Here's why I don't watch this show.
Okay.
They
Yeah,
must
they're
be.
watching
They
the
must be
show.
from the left because the left don't think with logic. The person is watching the show.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I know
I can't. I'm
okay.
not going to read the rest of that one.
All right, let Bodhi say
In
something.
their effort to try to make this some sort of scientific, they run off all these different charts, and I know you probably can't see all this, but they're trying to do population and planetary temperature. And the one method that they try to say is sustainable is you get to a certain population growth and then it levels off based on how much you're using everything else. That's really the ideal in their perspective. So their ideal position is that your population must move up and then stop and stabilize so there's no one else. So what happens if you try to stabilize your population? You have to start aborting, killing, euthanasia. All of those things are inherent in some of this
That's true.
background scientific data
Yeah.
that they're trying to call for. So, and they're using this as a springboard to try to say, this is what we need to be starting doing.
Yeah.
We need to start looking at the, drives me nuts.
Yeah. Somebody says, hi from Cleveland, Ohio. Our church had Time Lab VBS last week. The kids had a blast. So that's
yeah, great.
Yeah, our awesome VBS on that. All right.
Why do humans dominate the earth?
Because we're humans.
I thought the Bible says to Adam, and I give you dominion.
Yeah, well,
That's right. Genesis 1.
Isn't that it? Isn't that the answer?
God gave
that
dominion
is
to
the
man and
true
woman.
answer. But basically, so normally scientists, when they're trying to compare humans and apes, because apes are supposedly our most recent, our most closely related organism on Earth, they try to look at the similarities and say, look how similar they are. Well, this scientist said, well, I want to look at the differences. And he said, well, it turns out humans are distinct, but they're not unique. All right? And so this goes back to the whole idea of, are humans just a different kind or just a different degree? You know, are we a different degree of animal, or are we a different kind? We're totally unique in that sense. And these scientists said, oh, they're just distinct. They're not, you know, it's just a different degree. It's not kind. But Dr. Jensen, who's one of our geneticists here, he said, nope, we're a different kind. And we know that from Scripture, just like we know we have dominion.
Well, it's interesting how they say here, when researchers factor in differences, they say we're somewhere in the about 98% similar to apes.
You know, I hear that number all the time.
98%
It's not really
similar to
98%.
chimps. It's not 98%.
No, it isn't. And you get that 98% by looking at only certain portions of the DNA. If you were to include all of the DNA, because there's some human DNA that's not in chimp, there's chimp DNA that's not in human, you're going to end up with somewhere between 300 to 400 million differences between humans and chimps.
But they don't tell you that. And the kids aren't told that in the public school.
What they do is they take stuff that does line up and they try to say, well, how similar is it? You know.
But there's whole sections of chimp DNA that humans don't have, and whole sections of human DNA that chimps don't have. They exclude that. They don't even use that, and then they say, oh, see, we're 98% similar, and it's brainwashing.
It is. Well, it's just not true. Plain and simple.
It's really
not
a
good
fraud
science.
in that way.
Yeah, they're really being deceptive.
I just love the fact that humans really have dominated the earth. You know, we're made in the image of a ruling God, and he gave us something to have dominion over.
Dominion over the animals, over the earth, yes.
Well, like Dr. Jensen says, you know, chimps don't build jets or do science or write poetry. The gaps between us and chimps are huge. Don't you always say, have you ever tried to go to the zoo and have a...
Yeah, an atheist once said to me, well, you know, what does it mean, man's made in God's image? I said, it's simple. Go down to the local zoo, have a chat with one of the apes, and you'll see one of the differences. I think that's pretty simple, really.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody here on my Facebook said, I started watching this today on the Answers in Genesis page, but Georgia isn't monitoring the comments on there close enough, so they came over to my Facebook page. Okay, any of you watching this on the Answers in Genesis page, I'm monitoring the comments better than Georgia is. Come over to Ken Ham public Facebook page.
There hasn't been anything worth, like...
Vote for Ken Ham.
Am I supposed to be monitoring comments?
Okay.
All right. The next one is about
look, they're all coming over from Answers in Genesis page now. Look at this.
No, they're not. I still have 174 people. 170. Yeah. So anyways. All right.
73,
Farewell
72, 71.
Farewell to Nessie. All right, so this is basically, you know, everyone knows about the Loch Ness monster, supposedly. So what they're doing is they're going to do... Can I finish?
What? Oh, are you talking?
Yes.
Sorry.
They're going to look...
I just thought it was sort of background noise.
They're going to sample the water and see if they can find any fragments of DNA from skin, scales, feathers, fur, feces, and urine that might be left by a Loch Ness monster to basically kind of definitively say whether or not there's a Loch Ness monster.
Well, that'd be a terrible job to have. What do you do? Well, you know, I look for urine and feces and...
Well, DNA left from those things. So, and they do this actually in the open ocean. There's Craig Venter, who sequenced the human genome. They collect water and they sample the fragments of DNA to see what microorganisms they might be indicative of. So,
you know what? Do you know why I think they haven't found the Loch Ness monster? It's obvious. Climate change.
Oh.
You were going to say that.
Had to be, right?
I mean,
I was waiting for
it's
that.
the same reason they don't find aliens.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Right.
Has to be the same reason.
That's right.
Yeah.
Maybe Loch Ness Monster went out to Easter
This is
Island
interesting.
for a while.
I'm going to have to check this. Someone said, I saw Ken listed on the Southern Poverty Law Centre's monthly hate activity watch for your recent interview you did with the head of FRC.
Oh, that's lovely.
Family Research Council, Tony Perkins. I did an interview with, he came and visited the Ark, actually.
Right.
And you know how they listed their organisation as,
as
a hate group? Very interesting.
Well,
Somebody-
they label all sorts of Christians as hate
If you
groups
believe
nowadays.
if you believe marriage is a man and a woman, you're a hate
Your
group.
hate group.
Yeah.
If you believe abortion is wrong, you're a hate group. If you believe gay marriage is wrong, you're a hate group. I mean, that's in other words, if you're a Christian, they consider
You're
you're a
part of
hate
the
group.
hate group. Yeah.
Somebody on here says, I'm sticking with Dr. Georgia Purdom. on mine. Just saying. So anyway.
Hey, why is it when things disappear, people automatically say it's a myth? You know, like they're saying, okay, we have reports of some sort of creature at Loch Ness and some of the other lochs, actually, some of them going as far back as the 6th century. And now, all of a sudden, nobody can see anything. Nobody's been able to find anything for quite some time. So all of a sudden, it's labeled as a myth. Well, they did the same thing with the dodo bird. You know, nobody could find the dodo bird. People went out there and said, well, it's a myth. Do you realize people taught that the dodo birds were a myth for the longest time? And then they found a stuffed one in the British Museum, if I remember correctly, and they're like, oh, I guess it was real. But automatically, people have this assumption that if you can't find it, it's a myth. Why can't people understand the fact that things die out? We see that all the time. Why do people jump to the conclusion of myth? I don't get it.
Hey, somebody says, how come this series only analyses popular news articles, not the original scientific publications? That's a pretty easy one to answer, because this is a program that analyses popular news articles.
And a lot of times we do. Like if we have questions about the news article, we will go to the original source and look at it to get more information.
And we do that and do cover those things.
People are looking for technical debate. We have an Answers Research Journal.
Yeah. And if we were to discuss a technical research paper, it would take a long time. So, simple answer, this is a program that discusses popular news articles, and we do delve into some of the scientific things when we need to and at times.
Okay. Jurassic World, can we really resurrect a dinosaur? All right, so this is because the 5th installment of Jurassic Park, the whole Jurassic Park franchise will be coming out, I believe it's next week in the movie theaters. And so there's been an increased interest, again, in can we resurrect dinosaurs? Can we bring them back to life? And the short of this article says no, okay? Because, and I would 100% agree with this as a geneticist, that DNA, even if it's just, and we know it's just thousands of years old, not millions of years old, it just doesn't stand up very well. It's going to fall apart.
DNA is very fragile.
It's going to be in fragments, and you're not going to be able to just insert frog DNA, okay?
That's what they did in the original, wasn't it?
No, it doesn't work like that.
But here's what the article says. Look, we don't need DNA of dinosaurs anyway, they said, because we began by working out the most likely genomic structure of the bird-turtle ancestor before tracing any changes that occurred from then to the present day. And this includes the emergence of dinosaurs and pterosaurs. In other words, they said, we humans just went into it, we used a computer and we figured out what we would need to evolve a dinosaur.
Yeah, the overall.
So we sort of figured it out anyway based on our own assumptions and our programs and what we believed and what we thought and what we conjected. So they know.
Nice.
That's how they did
Totally
it.
unprovable, totally not based on evidence.
It's just ridiculous.
Whatever. But the thing is, too, it's much more complex than this. Even if we had the DNA, embryonic development and the development of, there's all these other things that we would have to know that we don't know. We'd actually have to have, they said, like a perfect dinosaur egg, so we can know all the developmental signals that are needed to cue the DNA to do what it needs to do.
Have it at the right temperature and so forth.
Yeah, and we don't know any of
people
that
have done
either.
a lot of experiments trying to...
But wait a minute. I want to give you, now this should be exciting for all of you. Okay, you ready? This is it's the climax of this paper.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, you ready?
I know what he's going to say.
Okay, the climax of this paper.
Right.
Here's the thing. Dinosaurs never became extinct. Quite the contrary. They are among us right now. Birds did not evolve from dinosaurs. Birds are not closely related to dinosaurs. Birds are dinosaurs.
Yep.
So
when you go to Chick-fil-A...
It's really dino fillet.
Dino fillet.
Oh, you know what you could do? A play on that.
Dinosaur.
Dine fillet. Dine, and a little O in brackets. Dine fillet.
Dino, yeah.
So what do you eat at Thanksgiving? Dino bird.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Hey, can you...
Birds are birds.
I'm going to go home and tell my wife, have you got any seed for the dino feeders at the back? We could call them dino feeders.
Okay.
I've got dinosaurs that live in my backyard. I do.
Yeah, that's what they claim.
And they fly around. And yet the word dinosaur was only invented for those animals that walk on the ground. Now they say birds are dinosaurs. So now the word dinosaur applies to things that fly, which it never did.
Yeah. So they're trying to expand the definition of a dinosaur. Well, here's the thing. There was a lot of birds buried in the same rock layers as dinosaurs.
Yeah.
We found a host of different birds. Why is it that they presume that those birds did not give rise to birds today?
Well,
why do they have to say, oh, no, all
And
those had
even
to be
if
gone,
you-
and dinosaurs had to change into it.
Right. And even if you Google, it's amazing. I just did this, in fact, for a presentation I'm working on. If you Google what class are birds, it'll say reptile. That's what comes up. Now, they haven't officially changed
And you want to
the
know why
class.
kids are so confused in schools?
Yeah. Not only do they not know their gender, they don't know birds from lizards. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
Well, biologically, they say you can't say there's male or female anymore. So
Yeah.
biologically, they'll how long before they say you can't say there's differences between reptiles and birds?
Hey, you know, we saw the article not too long ago. Where did octopuses come from? Well, they're aliens.
They're
They came
aliens
down on
from outer
asteroids.
space. No joke.
This is taught by people nowadays.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what somebody said that in the comments here. They said
Yeah.
maybe the aliens are missing because they're in the octopuses.
Probably, yeah. Inside of him.
Oh, gosh. So, all right, NASA's Curiosity rover finds chemical building blocks for life on Mars. Now, again, these articles come up every so once in a while, and this is about basically a pair of rocks that the rover, when Curiosity rover dug down, basically drilled down, got these rocks, they analyzed the chemicals in them, and found some organic molecules, and carbon specifically, that was there in the organic molecules. Well, that's nice, but that doesn't mean it's life. I mean, you can't, it's just not about organic molecules. You have to have information system like DNA. For
Wow,
it to
they
be
found
life.
carbon.
But you know what's interesting
Yeah, they do.
is the incredible emphasis by NASA and by others to look for life in outer space. And you wonder, why are they so obsessed with aliens, with trying to find life? Every time they find some new what they think could be evidence of a planet in the universe, I wonder if there's life there. Because they so want to be able to say, we found life elsewhere, it evolved elsewhere. See, the Bible's not true, the earth is not unique, man is not unique, that's it. I mean, it's all driven by the fact that they so want to believe life evolved by chance random processes. Do not want to believe there's a God that owns them, that created them, to whom they are responsible for.
Yeah, the Mars Curiosity rover, when it was there, it found 2 rock samples from sites named Confidence Hill and Mojave, which are at the bottom of Gale Crater. You know, I look at those names and I'm like, hold it, we have a Mojave Desert here in the United States, and Confidence Hill is actually one little area within that particular desert. Notice how the names have transferred? They've taken names from here on Earth and they've taken it now to Mars. Think of this with regards to, say, the Garden of Eden. You know, before the flood, we had some rivers, Tigris, Euphrates, things like that. After the flood, after everything's been demolished and rearranged, they actually renamed some of those rivers, Tigris and Euphrates. And that confuses people as to where they think the Garden of Eden is today. Right. Of course, they're looking at the post-flood rivers.
Do you know why they are hoping to find evidence of life on Mars? And they're saying they're hoping to find evidence of life once lived on Mars and so on. Do you know why they haven't found life on Mars?
Climate change?
Because the aliens that were there caused the climate change that caused life to become extinct and the aliens to become extinct. Now there's no aliens, and now there's no
asteroids and became the
there's no
octopuses
aliens
here.
and there's no life on Mars, which proves what climate change does.
Well, and here's the thing. These biological these molecules, organic molecules, are not necessarily biological. They can come from inorganic processes or inorganic things. They don't have to come from something that's biological. They even give some possibilities like, well, maybe they came from meteorites, maybe they came from rock processes. Well, yeah, so things that aren't biological in nature, just because you have an organic molecule doesn't mean life, or it came from life.
Well, you know what?
Okay.
There's a statement here too.
Okay.
They say there's a new mission in the planning where they'll be able to drill much deeper than the Curiosity rover can, and that gives me great hope. They want this hope of finding life. I got a verse of scripture for them. We have this as a sure and steadfast anchor of the soul, a hope that enters into the inner place behind the curtain. You know what? The hope they need is to put their hope and trust into sure hope in the Lord Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's the hope that they need.
Yeah.
And that is the only hope. Hey, by the way, somebody said here, my cat is watching Dr. Purdom. She calls her Dr. Purdom.
Yay!
I want proof. I want a photograph.
No, Bodie's got a good point with this that he needs to bring out.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
from a big picture, looking at this, when God created all things, He created the universe element-rich. We have a lot of elements, whatever it might be, hydrogen, helium, so forth. Carbon. We expect to find carbon all over the place.
Yeah.
So when they find carbon there, it's not a big deal. We expect this. This is consistent with a Christian worldview. And yet,
Yeah.
Hey, Bodhi.
If we can find carbon, there's got to be
Look,
life.
there's somebody here. To answer Bodhi's question, the reason birds are found in dinosaur-bearing sediments, and by the way, this is the storytelling that goes on,
Right.
is because the first true birds evolved in the Jurassic and continue to live alongside non-avian dinosaurs for about 100 million years afterwards. These non-avian dinosaurs went extinct, but many birds that lived alongside the non-avian dinosaurs, anyway, you
It
can...
just goes on and on.
And
It's all
yet,
storytelling.
here's the thing. God told us when birds came around.
Yeah.
It was on the 5th day of creation.
They were
They were part of the flying and sea creatures. They were around before dinosaurs,
yeah.
which are land animals made a day afterwards.
Here's the thing,
So
because
God disagrees.
Because we're talking about historical science, beliefs about the past, it means when the evidence doesn't fit, you can make up any story you want to try to make the evidence fit. I mean, that's basically what you do.
Yeah. All right.
So-
This next one, I got to warn you. It's
Okay, I'm going to show you a picture that might be a little revolting to some of you. Okay, I want you to think kangaroo. Okay,
And keep in
You
mind,
ready?
I told him not to show this.
she told me not to show it, but I don't know. I'm an Australian. Okay,
And let me give the title.
okay, give the
give
title.
Because let me give the title. This is what the perfect human body would look like according to an evolutionary
Oh,
biologist.
did you
So-
say the perfect human Bodhi?
So an evolutionary...
Body, not body.
I wonder if your wife is still watching. So the perfect human body, she used a computer because this evolutionary biologist is convinced that the way our body is not made very well. And she believed it could be made much better. And so the computer, after all she put in what should be done,
Made a 3D model.
made a 3D model, and this was it.
It actually, she said, I screamed when I saw the final version. I'm like, yeah, we all sort of did that.
So she said that it has a list of things here. So inspired by dogs, cats, cephalopods, fish, swans and chimps, my model has a better heart, more arteries, lungs that are more efficient, eyes with no blind spots, ears that pick up sounds better, legs that are more efficient, reptilian skin, and also a pouch like a kangaroo, because it'd be much better for women to look after their children.
Okay, hold on a second.
Sorry. Bad idea.
I see that pouch right there and I think that's going to be a nightmare. I mean, you realize that's one gigantic diaper. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Now, I actually looked up, well, what does a kangaroo do? How do they clean this sort of thing? They use their tongue. They reach in there and clean it right
yeah,
out.
see, it just gets
So she needed a longer tongue.
She needed a longer
Ew.
tongue, too.
Well, and the thing is how, this is her idea of what is optimal. But this isn't a living human being that we can see, go around and see if these things are really optimal. And the other thing is the legs, the reason the legs are the way they are and the feet, is she decided we needed to be able to run more than we needed to be able to climb things. And I'm like, wait a minute, whoa, whoa, whoa. Last time I checked, I'm not having to run away from predators, right? I can take some sort of weapon and just shoot the predator. Because I'm a human being, I'm intelligent, I don't need to run away. And so it's just, it's
you wouldn't grab your bow?
Okay, this evolutionary biologist, think about this for a moment. This evolutionary biologist actually says we're designed poorly and she could design a much better human being, right? A human could design a much better human being. Okay, here's what I suggest she do. Humans have already designed a kidney. It's called a dialysis machine. So she needs to get rid of her kidneys and go on the one humans have designed. Humans have designed knees, elbows, shoulders, legs, and hips. So she needs to get all those replaced,
Okay.
right? And I don't know, they're designing even artificial intelligence, so they could replace her brain, which I think would be much better when you look at something like this.
Yeah, no joke.
Okay. Yeah. What would happen?
And see, one of the things
able to-
that she used in here is why we're poorly designed, because she says women have pain in childbirth,
Ooh, where does that come from?
whereas
Paul.
apes can deliver real easily, but women have pain in childbirth. Genesis 3:16, pain in childbirth because of sin.
Because
Yeah,
of sin.
that's
And not only that, the other things that
It's a
she,
result of a fallen
some of the
world.
other things she sees as problems are because we live in a sin-cursed universe and we're actually falling apart.
Yeah.
And her body's
Right, we have
falling
throats
apart.
that are prone to choking. Well, I guess if you're chewing challenged.
Yeah. Well, hearing and eyesight that don't
Uh-huh.
last. Well, yeah, because we're living in a fallen world, and we
That's
have
right.
bodies
But
that are
do
in.
they
But,
not understand?
by the way, how would she
Sin,
sleep at
cursed,
night?
and
You wouldn't want
broken?
to roll over, would you?
No.
I assume that's just like a temporary thing during the day.
Yeah, those legs,
Oh
I think,
my
are based
gosh.
on
Somebody
bird
said it
legs.
looks like the thing from Avatar.
I tell you what, those legs would turn people's eyes walking down the street, that's for sure.
Okay. All right, let's go on. Yeah, it's nasty. Oh, we got people in here from Greece and Belgium, so all
This,
over the world.
the person that I read out to you before is upset because we didn't use the articles he linked to. Well, he's got the link there. People can go there if they
People
want.
go
They can
there.
read those
There you go.
articles for themselves.
All right,
So-
fire rainbow spotted in Vermont. What is this colorful
And let me guess,
phenomenon?
he's looking at all those rock layers from the flood, trying to say that things changed into each other over the course of a year, right? Because they were all buried one on top of the other. You know, your Jurassic sediments, your Cretaceous sediments, Triassic, and so forth. All those are from the flood of Noah's day. They were all buried at the same time. Those creatures were alive at the same time when they were buried.
Yeah.
You see, he doesn't have the correct worldview by which
Right,
to look
to
at the rock
interpret the
layers.
evidence. Hey, by the way, Ken Ham, Dr. Purdom, and Bodie Hodge rock.
We know.
Yeah.
All right.
You're
We
right.
were just talking
Let's
about
do this
rock
last
layers,
one,
so-
guys. All right, fire rainbow. So this is, I've seen these before. They're
I saw
kinda
one 2
cool.
weeks ago.
You saw
Yeah.
one just the other day. They're a circumhorizontal arc. That's because it's when the sun is situated high in the sky and its light is refracted by ice crystals in the atmosphere. So you
Yeah.
get,
And those really high cirrus
yeah,
clouds. And
you get
you
rainbows,
get to see some
sort
rainbow.
of not like a traditional rainbow.
Yeah, I took
but-
some nice pictures of my son, you know, with some of this. And
Hey, somebody made a comment about that last article about that evolution biologist who tried to invent a human. They said this: oddly, her interpretation is a created being.
yes,
Yes,
good
it is.
point. Excellent
Create in
point.
her image.
Created in her image.
In her image.
Well,
I'll
actually,
take God's image any day.
if it's her image, it's pretty ugly. She must be. Anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah. All
So-
right. Well, we're out of time.
about time. So, how about on Thursday?
Rainbows.
We'll mention this one.
Which
No,
is a very-
Amazon tribes that kill their children. And did you know that there are government agencies and left-wing people that want to let them do it? Because you shouldn't change culture.
yeah.
We'll comment on the Thursday. Also on Thursday, I want to show some video clips of Andy Stanley. Anyone heard of Andy Stanley in Georgia? And I'm going to actually, do you know what the heading's going to be? Is he a false teacher?
Yep.
and we're going to show some video Show some clips. clips.
What's the latest stuff he's teaching? It's just
Oh, my.
disgusting. You
Yeah,
saw it
it's
today, didn't you?
shocking,
Yeah, it made me sick.
We'll do that on Thursday.
Yeah,
All
all
right,
right.
we'll head it
So
down.
we'll
Okay.
see you
All right,
back
God
on
bless you
Thursday
guys.
at 2 o'clock.
Thank you so much. At 3 o'clock, Dr. Jensen will be speaking on